Hey guys, Matt here, and this is going to be a video for the workshop that I did at Soldier Fit in Frederick, Maryland. So we're going to go over the 4 exercises that we did that day, and this way you guys can go back, you can look here and say, oh, I forgot how to do this exercise. You can go back, see exactly what I say, know exactly how to do it without having to worry about remembering it, okay? And eventually they'll just become second nature, and you'll become very good at doing these. And I just want to make sure, I may not have mentioned it, but I want to make sure that you know that if you do these, whether you work with me or not, if you do these exercises for a week, for 2 weeks, and just give 10 minutes a day, that's all I ask. If you just do 10 minutes a day of these exercises, 2 minutes each one, you will see dramatic improvements in your hip mobility and in the way that you squat, when deadlift, and when you run. So you're gonna feel much looser. Overall, it's just gonna feel better. So let's get right to it. We're gonna start with the band. We'll try and go in order here. Get the band around here, scooch back. So this one, you're gonna need a assisted pull-up band or a monster band. And the whole goal is to have the band really high up in your hip, close to your groin. You're gonna grab your knee and then drive your knee. So I'm just kind of relaxed here. I'm not really actively doing it. My arms are doing all the work, and I'm driving my knee towards my chest. And then relax. So how would I do this one? I'm gonna say do it for a minute, for each side to start with. So we're pulling, hold 1 or 2 seconds, back right off, and then the last minute, come across the center. When we drive this knee towards the opposite shoulder, right? My right knee, drive it towards my left shoulder. This is really, it's gonna put the hip in, it's gonna wind up that hip joint, all that connective tissue around the hip joint. And this is what, it's already tight if you've been sitting a lot or for whatever other reason it's tight on you. This is gonna feel very tight, could be pinchy, but if it's pinchy or tight, keep doing this for a minute, it's gonna get better. All right, so that's one of them. Again, 2 minutes a day. The next one we will do the one with the lacrosse ball. And all you're gonna do with this one, you're gonna start on your back. Make sure we're in a good position here. And I want you to find whichever side you're gonna do it on, find your hip bone. And the way to find that is find where your belt would be, your belt line, or your waist crease, where the top of your shorts or your pants is gonna be. And dig right in there, say, oh, there's my hip bone. If you go too far low, it turns into soft tissue. If you go too far high, it just turns into your abdomen, which is again soft tissue. So put the ball right on the bone, roll it down about 1 inch, roll it to the outside. So this way, laterally to the outside about 1 inch. And then we're gonna roll right on top of it. I don't wanna roll too far forward so you won't be able to see it, but roll right on top of that ball. And oh man, it's definitely a little bit tender. And then we can roll it around. So what you can do to start with, just lay right on it. Just hang out, get used to it, and then with this leg crossed over here, I'm controlling this motion and I'm just moving forward and backwards on top of the ball. So you can do a minute of hanging out, and you can do deep breathing too, because holy cow, that is intense. And then you can start the last minute, start kind of moving around side to side here, really working out that area, working out that tissue. You can also do, another tip you can do, if I take this leg away, you would keep it here, but if you can see my knee, I'm finding that spot, and then I can rotate my leg. So all I'm doing is I'm doing this, I'm just rotating it on that spot. So it's your muscles contracting and it's relaxing and you're pinning it down. This is a great way to break up scar tissue, and if it's tender, there's probably some scar tissue in that area. So this is a great one to do. You don't have to do it, but just another tip that you can add on. I don't think I went over that one during the workshop, but just another one that you can try. All right, now next one we're gonna do is, let's do the couch stretch. All right guys, let's do the couch stretch. So I also noticed too, some people who had no idea what this was, of course, had no reaction, but the people that did were like, oh no, not the couch stretch. So this is, and the reason why is it's that intense, but this is one, I do it every day. This is my favorite. I think everybody should do this once a day, especially if you have a long car ride, if you're gonna be in a long, right, if you're on a plane for 3 hours, your hips are gonna get tight, and this is just a great one to do for self-maintenance. So we're gonna come to the wall over here. If I'm gonna stretch out my right hip, I'm gonna start with my knee on the ground. We got a nice soft carpet here. You can use a pillow if you need to, but have that knee on the ground and right up against the wall. And you want your foot pointed like this. You don't want it like that. So point the foot, don't let it kick out to the side. You want your heel in line with your butt, cheek. And here, sounds funny, get all your laughs out now. Squeeze the glute. By doing that, I mean put a quarter between your butt cheeks, squeeze the quarter, and you may feel, if you're really tight, you may feel a really good stretch just in this position. If that's the case, hang out here at least a minute. Go for 2 minutes. If you're like, hey Matt, this isn't too bad, I can bear this, that's fantastic. Start to bring this other leg up, right? You want that foot right in front of you like this. But if you can't, if you're here like, oh man, I just can't do this, you can kind of meet it halfway, right? If this is too easy and this is too hard, you can have this halfway point. It's a little more uncomfortable just kind of hanging out here, but still squeeze the glute, have more of a stretch on the front of that hip. This is step 2. So now we're hanging out here. My core is tight, my glute is on. I'm feeling a pretty good stretch here. I know I can go further, so if this is step 2 for you, hang out here for a minute, at least a minute, try and make it 2. Step 3, I have both hands here. My core's tight, both of my glutes are squeezed, and I'm pressing up this way. Holy cow. I really feel it in the front. Make sure we are not banana backing, okay? That means immediately my core's off and my glutes are off. So keep the core tight and the glutes tight. Pinch that quarter between your butt cheeks, and you can get up and like, yeah, I just can't go any farther. If I cheat, I can go farther. So hanging out here, again, at least a minute, go for 2 minutes, guys. That's the couch stretch. Definitely the most intense stretch that I gave you. All the rest were mobilizations and using the band and using the ball. This one, super easy to do at home. You don't need anything, you need a wall. But other than that, just a great stretch overall. Again, try and go for 2 minutes a day, at least a minute if it is that intense for you and you're just getting used to it. All right, and the last one we're gonna do is the mobilization for the hamstring. So useful for squatting, definitely useful for deadlifting, probably the most useful one for deadlifting. So it's the combination of stretching out the muscle along with mobilizing the joint. So it's similar to the one where we were laying on our backs and we had the band across our hip and we were driving our knee up. But in this case, we're already in this position, right? So the band is way high up on my hip. You want the band tied to a structure that's not going to move, that's the same height as your hip here, okay? Mine's a little bit lower, so the angle looks a little more extreme, so you want it more flat like this, where the other part of that band is tied to the stationary surface. So we're going to be here. The leg I'm mobilizing is more in front of my other leg. I'll try and get a little bit closer. The band's nice and high, right into my groin, in the front of my leg. I'm gonna reach down. If you can't get down here, that's okay. Get down as far as you can. I can get my fingertips down. Bend the knee, push your butt up towards the ceiling, and straighten your leg. Back down, straighten your leg, push your butt up. Hold 1, 2, 3, whew, back right off. And straighten that knee, push your butt up towards the ceiling. Hold 1, 2, 3, whew, back off. And again, guys, a minute. I don't care about reps for this. I care about time and quality. You can do it quick and not do a very good job, but I care about the quality of it. This is not a race. Try and go for 2 minutes, at least a minute. Again, I'll do one more time. Straighten that knee, push your butt up, hold a couple seconds, back right off. Whew. Definitely one of my favorites. All right. So those are the 4 exercises that we did at the workshop. Again, if you do these guys if you do this once a day, give me 10 minutes. Doing these exercises, they're gonna help. Give it a week, give it 2 weeks. If you just do them today and then never do them again, that tightness and the muscle length, it's gonna come back to where it was, okay? You have to be diligent with these, and also thinking about changing your patterns, right? If you sit a lot, there's things that you can do to change that. Getting a standing desk, learning how to properly stand, which is, I'd love to have a workshop on that. But that's all I got for you guys today. I'll talk to Andrew and try and get some more workshops set up. I'm super excited about that. And the only other thing I want to talk about is my assistant was taking some photos today. I would love to use some of those photos to promote the workshop. So if you guys if you guys benefited from the workshop, if you said, hey Matt, I felt better, allowing me to put these on social media will allow other people to see this and say, hey, this looks pretty cool. And so other people can get the same benefit that you had. So guys, I would love to be able to use some of these photos. I'll post something in the Soldier Fit Facebook group. So just to make sure you guys are okay with it. But other than that, thanks for coming to the workshop, and I look forward to putting more on for you. Talk to you next time.